up, everybody? Welcome back to part 2 of episode 200, where we are going to be talking about top 5 movies and top 5 shows, as well as shouting out all of our guests that we had for the year 2023. This is a big moment for us. We've been around for a few years now. Episode 200. It's always really fun that this podcast is going. So if you are a first-time listener, go ahead. Hops Geek News, any podcasting platform, any social media platform, that's where you can find us. And then please subscribe, like, share, all that good stuff. Share with a friend, play us for your dog, whatever it may be. That's how the podcast can grow. Patreon.com/Hops Geek News is how you can support the show. Catch us at MegaCon, February 1st through 4th, where we are going to be, we're going to be handing out stickers. We are going to be there. It's in a month. It's getting really exciting. Lots of cool things to come from that, potentially panels to, Epcot appearances, things of that nature. So be
World Dessert Oyster.
Yes. Stay on the lookout for that. Now, typically how this goes is we have a beer of the week. We go into news, what we've messed up on, what we've been reading or watching, main topic. However, this is part 2. If you've listened to part 1, we had Ken and Tom from Nerd Initiative, where we talked about the top comics of 2023. Well, this one is strictly going to be the two of us, where we talk about our favorite movies and TV shows, as well as our guests. So we're going to kind of forgo the normal format. And we are going to start, however, with the beer of the week. Now, this beer, for me, is a very big whale for many people out there. It is Lawson's Finest Liquid Sip of Sunshine IPA. And like I said, this is a really, really big whale for folks. It comes from Stratford, Connecticut. As you'll see here, there's the can if you're on YouTube. And some anecdote for you, it's an 8% IPA. Our lupulin-laden India Pale Ale is packed with juicy tropical fruit character, bright floral aromas, and delectable layers of hop flavor. Pour mindfully, inhale deeply, and enjoy a tropical vacation in a glass. Lawson's Finest Liquids. Our name is our promise. We protect freshness with a singular commitment to cold. It's cold stored, cold shipped, cold shelved, all to keep every beer the freshest from our brewery to your very first sip. Visit us in Waitsfield, Vermont, or at lawsonsfinest.com. Now, this was brewed here a couple months ago in the fall, so obviously not as fresh as you would get from the brewery, but man, I haven't had a sip of sunshine in a hot minute. It's good. It's good. It's a delicious IPA. It is one of the better ones out there. It's up there with Heady Topper, any Treehouse one that you can get. So if you can get your hands on it, by all means, make sure you do so. Got it. It's got a nice, beautiful color, beautiful aroma, beautiful taste. It's delicious. Lauren, what do you got?
So I don't have a whale of a beer, but I have a narwhale of a glass. So anybody watching on YouTube, hi, buddy. I hope you find your dad. So you can see this is very juicy. Well, the lighting in here I need to fix.
Sure.
This is a tactical brewing beer called City Lights Suck. It's a New England IPA with Eclipse, Mosaic, and Strata hops. I absolutely love this. It's only 6%, and I'm starting to think that Strata hops might be up there with me with Cashmere and Citra, because the more I'm like, oh, I really like this beer, I notice Strata hop seems to be a popular one. Mosaic seems to be a standard one. I definitely like Mosaic.
And Citra are two definitely standard ones for sure.
Yeah, they tend to go together, but Citra stands out. I don't think I could pick out Mosaic. I feel like Citra and Cashmere are literally the only two hops I can pick out. And I feel like because they're very obvious, I don't have a refined palate. But Tactical Brewing, this is a beer I drink regularly on this show, and we are still celebrating 200. And if I went back and did the math, there'd probably be a good chunk percentage of beers that I've drank from Tactical on this show.
A lot. For sure. They're good, man. They're out of Orlando. They're a great brewery. They do a lot of really cool things, whether it's sours or IPAs. Like, they do good stuff.
Yeah. And another one that Josh picked up when he grabbed these ones was Tulpa, which obviously to me, I thought supernatural. They did a whole Tulpa episode. And then you have an episode Matt hasn't gotten to yet where he goes, it's not the Tulpa. But, you wouldn't get that joke, even though you probably get that joke. So I'm not going to drink that on our next supernatural episode, because when we do finally get around to that, we're going to drink some family business.
We are indeed. Of course, folks, I want to shout out our patrons real quick. We've got Scott, we've got Jess, we've got your mom, we've got Tabitha, Riley, who's been there since the start. Patrick is a member on there. Man, like, shout out to all you guys. You said your
mom, like Ryan Arias, and here's your mom. No, it's literally my mom.
Lauren's mom. Corey is another one who's been with us since our Hops News days, and Alex. Big shout out to my boy Alex, who I grew up with, and really all you guys help make what we're doing possible, help make going to MegaCon, things like that possible. And so shout out to you guys real quick. Big year of 2023 for the Geeks crew, of course. So without further ado, man, there was a lot of good TV shows this year. So I want to start with TV shows because the movies are heavy hitters, but TV shows, we got a lot of good stuff this year. You know, then some of it seems like, wow, that was this year. Believe it or not, it was.
I know.
Marvel.
Looks like we're about on the same page.
For the most part, yeah. Like Marvel brought us some stuff. Star Wars brought us some stuff. There was some Hulu. There was some Apple originals, which were really good. And so let's go ahead with, let's start with our number 5. Did you put yours in specific order, or is it just kind of like
no
particular? Okay, you did. Okay, I did too. Go ahead, you start real quick because I'm adding some notes of some ones that I want to shout out specifically. So go ahead and kick us off.
My number 5 is Loki. It's number 5 and not 1, just because I felt it was slow and then it had a banger of an ending. So overall, I'm going to give it, I feel like I'm rating it low. I'm not rating it low. It's in my top 5 shows, and there were some phenomenal shows this year. But, you know, we did a breakdown episode on Loki. It was a lot of fun watching. Obviously, you had Short Round and you had Owen Wilson, and when watching Loki's just character development, because we didn't start with the Loki that we went through all the way towards, you know, to seeing Thanos snap his neck.
Not at all. No.
Right. This was Loki from Avengers 2012. And so his character development had to be done all over again. And I thought they did a great job. And obviously they did the time thing that you see like that in Doctor Who, where, you know, it's been no time for everybody else, but now the Doctor's hundreds of years older. And so they did that. But it was a great show, and it was a tragic show. And I hope that Loki's not done. I hope that Loki shows up again in the next Thor movie or an Avengers movie. I just hope that Thor sees the sacrifices that Loki is making.
I want those two to show up together so bad. They have to, like they have to. I feel like I know that they're not, like, they've always talked about like Loki being done. Like there was only,
I don't know that he definitively is though. If anything, I feel like Chris Hemsworth is more likely to be done because of his medical diagnosis.
Loki's holding time together, so I feel like they've done one of those things where they can bring him back should they need to, when they need to, kind of deal. So I feel like
one with the multiverse.
Yeah, I think before Thor's character is officially out of the MCU, we're gonna probably get Loki one more time. I just don't see how.
So at MegaCon, are you gonna hold a gator?
I will. I'll wear my Loki shirt.
Perfect.
I got you. Speaking of Roosevelt's, I got a nice Loki shirt there, and I'm wearing Roosevelt's right now. My Kevin Smith collection from Roosevelt's, and
that shirt got you a free silent.
It did. I got a free Silent Bob toy at FanX, which is really cool because I was rocking it there, and I got to meet Kevin Smith. And God, I hope he comes back. Anyways, my number 5. You know what? Thinking about it, I'm gonna switch. I'm gonna go with you. Loki is my number 5 as well. I lied because I thought of a new show. Loki doesn't make my top 5. Controversial.
Damn.
I'm replacing Loki with The Bear.
I didn't see that, but I know you loved it.
I love The Bear. Oh man. And Jeremy Allen White, like, God bless. The show is amazing. It's on Hulu. I hated the fact that they really released all the episodes at once, but like there's one episode in particular, their Christmas episode, and it's got Jamie Lee Curtis and
really
John Bernthal is back. Yeah, like
John Bernthal is in this.
John Bernthal, yeah. I'm not spoiling who he is.
Is in The Bear.
He's in The Bear, yeah.
And so is JamieLee Curtis.
Jamie Lee Curtis is in one episode. John Bernthal is a reoccurring character, and I'm not going to spoil more than that. But you know, this show is. Such an exposition on really great, screenwriting and character development and characters in general. And also, what's his name who played Adam Warlock? He was in this past season of The Bear as well. So it's that's my number 5 show by far. Number 5 is The Bear. Love that show. Now,
you never worked in the restaurant industry, did you?
I worked at like Dunkin' Donuts for 5 seconds. So no, not really. No.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. You worked at Dunkin' Donuts
for like 5 seconds, and then I quit because I got a better job. And the guy was like, you should normally give your 2 weeks notice. And I was like, buddy, I fucking hate this job. And I'm not.
You realize that's why they never gave us a sponsorship, right?
It's actually probably goes back to the year.
Give you 2 weeks.
This was when I was 19. It was before it was 18 or no, it was 19. It was the year 2009. I had just moved back to Massachusetts and I was trying to find a job. Dunkin' Donuts was the easy place. And I fucking hated that job. And, funny enough, though, that's when I got turned on to coffee because I got free coffees all the time. So that's where I really started to drink coffee. I didn't drink coffee up until I started working there. And ever since then, I've been addicted to PSLs and all that good shit. So thank you, Dunks. Mm. Also, I get it why you hate us. But that job sucked. Fuck that job. That was my only restaurant industry because I don't ever want to work in that industry. Ever.
I've just heard I've never worked in the restaurant business, but I've heard that show is a very good depiction of how it is. And the people who have worked in the industry especially love that show because it's so relatable.
Yeah, I have heard that too. My number 4 show is an Apple TV original starring Harrison Ford, Jason Segel. It is Shrinking.
Me
Holy
too.
Shit. I love this show. It was one that Carrie and I put on randomly. We flew through that season. Absolutely flew through that season. And oh my God, like Harrison Ford is just like this grouchy, old, lovable man that like, I feel like that's who I am inside. It's like this grouchy old man who's very like.
He's who you want to be when you're 80.
Yeah, really. Like he was amazing. And he's just, Jason Segel is this dad whose wife has passed and he's trying to raise a daughter on his own. And
he's not doing great.
No, and he's a shrink at that. And it was just such
he's dabbling in drugs and whores.
Yeah, it was such a well-written show. And Jason Segel is one of my favorite actors of all time because How I Met Your Mother is by far my favorite TV show of all time. So that was mine. And that was also yours?
Yeah. And you're actually the one that told me to watch it. So we had Apple for Ted Lasso. So every time Josh fell asleep while we were watching Ted Lasso, I was like, I put on Shrinking.
Was Ted Lasso this year?
It might have been this year. It might have been last year. And because I waited till Ted Lasso had all the episodes before I got Apple.
Ted Lasso was this year. Oh my God. I left it off the list.
We did a whole episode on it. But Ted Lasso, as much as I loved it, it wouldn't have hit my top 5. It was phenomenal, but Ted Lasso, it wouldn't have hit my top 5.
Season 3 was actually, it was this May.
Oh, wow.
March to May. You know what? And I'll tell you right now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to remove my number 2.
Did you just bump the bear?
Get to your number 3 because.
One more thing I want to say about Shrinking. Tracy, I recommended this to her and she fell in love with it too. So do not sleep on Shrinking. The next door neighbor, who is the woman from Scrubs, she's fucking hilarious. Her husband's the one that started the show. That couple I thought was so funny, so phenomenal. And then the younger therapist who's going through the divorce that ends up hooking up with Jason Segel, she's from Daily Show. So I didn't know why she looked familiar until I looked it up and I was like, that's why. So she is also hilarious and she did a great job because when you're first watching, you're like, oh, these are all big people other than her. No, she's in Daily Show. Like they all hit it out of the park. Everybody was phenomenal. Even Harrison Ford's love interest, the one lady from like News Radio a million years ago, the doctor, does a great job. Go watch the show on Apple. You will be laughing aloud at their trauma. Yes. And it's such a good, it's weird how sad it is and it still feel good.
And it's also got the girl, she was in Scrubs.
Yeah, I said that.
Oh yeah, you're right. You did. Sorry, there was an argument going on outside.
I saw something going on with kids. Yeah, you're good.
There was something happening in the hallway. There's an argument, so I had to like take the ear off. My bad. You're right. Go on. Continue. What's your next one?
Ahsoka.
It was Ahsoka. That's fair. I had to remove Ahsoka from my list. I'm sorry.
She was my most anticipated show this year, and I felt like it started off strong, and I was very excited for the fan service in the beginning. But until they fill some of these plot holes, which I think that they will. And if they do, then I'm fine because I like a slow burn. But this show should have been rated higher, but it wasn't because I loved it, but it didn't meet my expectations. Also, where are Callus and Zeb? We saw Zeb and Mando, but where's Callus?
I really did love Ahsoka, the show, but the more I sat on it and thought about it, the more I took issue with it, if that makes sense.
Well, because Thrawn wasn't great either. Thrawn should have been better.
Well, Thrawn was great. It was more of the fact that we are literally in the same spot we were to start, just flip flops.
You just switched characters.
Ezra and Thrawn are now in the main universe, and Ahsoka and Sabine are not. And Sabine was very much, just this. I don't even. They like their secrets for no reason. I love Shin, Darth Bay. Love you, girl.
I hate secrets for no reason.
But yeah, no, like they're nothing. We didn't really get anywhere.
I agree.
And so,
but I do wonder how they're going to tie all this into episodes 7, 8, and 9. So we shall see.
Yeah. But I will have to remove that. My next one actually is Only Murders in the Building.
I still haven't watched that, or it might be on here.
God,
I know. I need to finish Doom
Gomez.
Patrol. I put Doom Patrol one day, and HBO Max kept skipping, so I just turned it off. I got to finish Doom Patrol. I got to finish Only Murders. I got a bunch I got to do.
It's so good. Like Martin Short, Steve Martin, Meryl Streep was in the season. Paul Rudd was in the season. And Selena Gomez. Dude, I don't understand how they continuously figure out how to like make this show smarter and smarter and smarter, but they do. And it just is so good. I love the writing on the show. I love the characters and how well they play together. It's my number 3. My number 2 is Ted Lasso. It was Ahsoka, but I thought about it.
I can't believe you bumped Ahsoka from 2 to nothing. Why are there balloons showing up on your screen? Why are there balloons
on my screen? You saw that? Like I just saw balloons on my. There was random balloons on my screen. Have I?
Matt, I don't know if you know how I feel about balloons being released. I'm not okay with
hack our Zoom, and there was random balloons.
That was really funny.
That's kind of creepy.
You must have hit something. Did I say happy birthday anything. And it just happened? I don't know.
My hands were right here. Like I haven't touched it. That's weird. Yeah.
That was hilarious.
I have bumped Ahsoka because Ted Lasso deserves to be on those lists. And Ted Lasso is number 2 because of the things that makes me feel inside as a human being. I forgot it was this year because this year has felt like 30 years in one. I feel like
we were in Idaho at the beginning of this year. You had a lot happen this year.
I really forgot that I was in Idaho almost because it feels like we've been here forever. But like really, no, I've only been here since August and we've traveled the country and done all this stuff. And Ted Lasso was like an expose on like men's mental health awareness, which is so important. And so to me, Ted Lasso was the way it wrapped up. I would have liked a couple things there, but it was still, man, that show wanted me to maybe want to cry every year or every season. So that for me is my number 2. My number 1.
Well, you don't care about my number 2? I see how it is.
Sorry. You're right. I thought you did your number 2. I got distracted by the balloons.
I did not do my number 2.
What's your number 2?
Mando season 3. I really liked it.
Okay.
I did. I know, I feel like I know that I'm in the minority here, but I absolutely love Bo-Katan. I love her story. I love that when we first met her, she was this kind of like angsty teenager, young adult who thought she knew better than her older sister who was queen and that she knew best. And I loved that she realized the error of her ways and that she felt she wasn't worthy of ruling Mandalore because she knew she fucked up. And I just loved seeing her come into her own. And I also love that, she's a few years older than me and so freaking badass. And as soon as that helmet just gets a little bit more on discount, I'm going to buy it because it's so beautiful too.
Mando should be an anthology series going forward.
I'm fine with that.
Because they should be focusing on the Mandalorians as a whole now. Like, I don't really know that
I'm completely fine with that because I felt like there were episodes this season that was not about Din Djarin. They were about
this season wasn't about him. It was, but it wasn't. Like it started off about him, but then it turned into like Bo-Katan and the Mandalorians at large. And
I'm totally cool with that.
No, that's not a knock at all. Like I like Mando, but I feel like this was the weakest season that they have produced. And that's not a knock to them. I don't think it's a knock to them.
I absolutely just fell in love with Bo-Katan this season.
I do. Katie Sackhoff is amazing. I love her.
Yeah.
I definitely do.
And I loved seeing the whole, the Mythosaur was so cool to see that. I thought like when we first got a glimpse of that.
We got a lot of Mandalorian lore, I think, which I really love because we never have really gone to Mandalore to that degree before. And I thought that was really cool.
Right. And tying more of that into the cartoons and everything. Even the Jack Black episode, like, sure, it was a little silly, but seeing all this stuff with the
Star Wars is silly at its core. Like Star Wars is silly.
I mean, you go back and watch episode 1 and like that freaking creature's like farting and the kids are all giggling and it's just
Star Wars is silly at its core, man. It just is.
But I feel like a lot of us fell in love with Mando because Mando was grounded and serious and more so for adults and targeting adults.
This season kind of took that turn.
But I feel like this season combined both because I feel like it was still targeting adults, but it didn't take itself too seriously with some issues. And then enter Moff Gideon. And then I also loved how
and exit Moff Gideon all at once.
But there's multiple Moff Gideon. So, do you really exit Moff Gideon? But I also feel like that Mandalorian is trying to fix a lot of the issues with episodes 7, 8, and 9. And I feel like we're starting to see that. And I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, at this point, you know how I feel about. I'm not even going to touch episode 7, 8, 9 because at this point, I feel like we should
but they're trying
scrap and retry the whole thing.
That's not going to happen.
I know. All right. So number one, I think we both agree at this point, right?
100%.
It's The Last of Us by far. The Last of Us season 1 was peak television for HBO. Pedro Pascal.
He was not in Mando season 3. He only voiced it.
And I think, he really wasn't. But honestly,
his helmet should have been off in the last episode.
This season of television was great. It wasn't just your typical run of the mill zombie. It gave us one of the most beautiful episodes, that we had gotten it deviated from the game a little bit for those of us who have played the game. And it was beautiful. It was to see Ron Swanson living this gorgeous, beautiful, charming life in a zombie apocalypse.
But he still had Ron Swanson in him too.
He did. Which
was amazing.
It was amazing. But to see this libertarian man and the things that he did and the life that he lived and the tragically go out, and it was just so beautiful. Meanwhile, the story between Ellie and Joel and just how visceral it got at times and the costumes and the fear that you felt from these
two brothers where the little one was deaf. Oh, that episode was gut wrenching.
God, it was just such good television. It was beautifully written. The acting was next level. Of course, there were some gripes, like it starts in Massachusetts. So somebody who's from there is like, that's not bot. Like, you're not getting from here to here, but that's stupid.
Like Dexter season 2 and on. That's not really Florida. We're on to you.
It's really not that serious, but as a whole, it was an amazing show. And that's why it's my number one. I want to give out some shout outs real quick to that didn't make my list, but they could have, like Gen V. That would have been on my list.
That's a nod.
Yeah.
Loved it. Didn't love it enough for the top 5.
Yeah. And then
not as good as The Boys.
Monarch Legacy, the Apple TV show about Godzilla. That was a fantastic series. I loved it. Didn't break my top 5. Ahsoka, like I've talked about, that was another one that didn't break the top 5. And so yeah, those are kind of some special shout out series. Did you have any that I missed?
Outside of Gen V, which if we were judging just on that Soldier Boy cameo alone, it would probably be my number one. I feel like when that came out, the strike was still going on, and I had so much pent up, whatever you want to call it. And Erica will still tell it. I think I've even said it on here because she asked, she's like, okay, what was the cameo? And I was like, it wasn't the cameo I wanted, but it was the one I deserved. And when she watched it, she was like, that was the funniest thing you've ever said. That 100% makes sense. And I didn't think it was that funny, but it was like, I wanted to scream from the mountaintops when that cameo happened, and I couldn't do anything because nobody else that I knew had watched it, and I couldn't post anything on social media. Yeah. I still don't know where to get a Soldier Boy pillow, and I really need one. But it is what it is.
Listen, the internet's a weird place. I'm sure they're out there somewhere.
Yeah, but I don't need. I did look right after the episode aired.
List, but
it wasn't the kind that I would want. I'll leave it at that. Shout out to the fall of House of Usher. This would be my number 6 if I did have a number 6. Thought this was a great Mike Flanagan run. If you're into the Mike Flanagan shows on Netflix at Halloween time, this was my second favorite one of all the ones he's done. I thought that was a really great show. I loved Mark Hamill in it. I really thought everybody did a bang up job in that show. And then my last one, I just want to do a nod to Secret Invasion. I did not like Secret Invasion by any means. However, Sonya Fallsworth. That's just all I'm going to say.
She was good, but that show was...
It was not good, and I'm upset that it wasn't good.
It was so bad. Oh, I'm just... whatever. Anyways, all right. Let's roll into our top 5 favorite movies in just a second. We will be right back. All right, top 5 favorite movies of the year, starting at number 5. I have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I'm not a notoriously known person to love Guardians of the Galaxy, but the things that they did with Rocket Raccoon, you know, I thought it was a fitting end for this crew and James Gunn. It was great in the sense that it was very dark.
Pseudo end.
Yeah, like it was dark. It was god dang like animal cruelty dark, and I thought every actor acted their ass off in this, and so it was a very fitting end to James Gunn's run with Marvel. If this is indeed the final one that he has, so that was my number 5.
Chris Pratt was amazing in this.
Yeah,
like,
you know,
the feelings he had for Rocket, and you know that was either a puppet or a stand-in, and like you felt his pain.
Yeah, and I'm so glad that Gamora and Quill didn't get back together too, because I feel like that would have ruined the story.
Because it wasn't Gamora. Yeah, I have more to say on this one because it's further down my list.
Well, go ahead with your number 5.
My number 5 is actually the Haunted Mansion.
Really? That was a number 5 movie for you.
Well, for one, I think you saw more movies than I did this year. So I will say that there's a lot of movies I did not see. I did not go to the theater as much as you did. You know, when you watch Supernatural on just constant repeat, you don't see as many new things. But the Haunted Mansion, I think it goes into expectations too, because the last Haunted Mansion I liked, but I didn't love. But this Haunted Mansion, I loved every single character. I thought they all did great. I thought it was a stacked cast, and I absolutely loved all the nods to the ride. And then I realized what a terrible mother I am, because I would look to Logan and Brielle and be like, remember this from the ride? And they're like, no. And I'm like, when was the last time I took you on the ride? So we have reservations. First, the day before school goes back, I'm taking them and we're going on a Haunted Mansion because we don't go to Magic Kingdom often.
Really?
I
guess you go to Hollywood Studios. That's fair.
We go to Hollywood Studios and Epcot a lot, and occasionally Animal Kingdom. Magic Kingdom is always a shit show.
It is.
They often have parties. You got to take the ferry there, and like we usually go on school nights
or the tram. So one of the two.
Right,
and it's like stressful.
Well, we never take the tram.
I wouldn't either. It's always the ferry.
It's the monorail or the ferry, but the tram is the one
thing. The monorail. The monorail is the same thing in my head. Okay.
Yeah, it's always a shit show. There's, I hate it. It always sounds like an alcoholic, but you can't buy beer and walk around. But also, since they took away Fast Pass, all the lines are so long, and all you really can do at Magic Kingdom for the most part is go on rides. There's not as much just hanging out to do.
I keep forgetting that because I guess I've been to Disneyland twice more recently than I've been to Disney World. It's, at Disneyland, it's all the same, right? Like I can go to Star Wars Land and all of that stuff within Magic Kingdom, but I forgot like Hollywood Studios has all of that stuff and whatnot. And so, I guess I kind of forgot about that in the sense of there's not a whole lot to do at Magic Kingdom and Disney World.
I mean, there is a lot to do. It's just mostly rides. I mean, my favorite thing to do is get Starbucks and sit on the lawn and let the kids run around. But a lot of times they block that off for an event or because there's fireworks coming or something. But Logan has not been to Magic Kingdom in over a year. And I have not been since like March. And that was when we had the Tron preview. Yeah. So we didn't go for Halloween this year. We didn't go for Christmas this year. It's just a pain in the ass.
It is. It's like there's just so many crowds anymore,
Yeah. But Tom Sawyer's Island's a great one to go to, but they close when it gets dark. Yeah. But yeah, I really liked the Haunted Mansion. My number 4 was Across the Spider-Verse.
Wow, that was that far down. Okay.
Oh.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm confident with that.
Okay. I respect that. I respect that. I do have it on my list. I won't spoil where yet, but it is on my list. And it's another one of those movies that you almost forget comes out this year. Because it seems like it was so long ago. Gasp. Well, the audience can't. My number 4 is Godzilla -1. This movie. Wow. It's Godzilla to its core. It's Godzilla it's got such, for people who are like, oh, it's a Godzilla movie, but what about the human characters? Like, nah, this gives you so much human driven character development that it was phenomenal.
Is this one connected to any of the other ones?
No, it's Japanese film, so it's all subtitles, but it's really good.
That's right.
It's visually stunning. Godzilla's a menace, an absolute menace. They got the retro theme song, and the characters are great, and it's such a good movie, and it's doing really well in the box office, surprisingly too. So that's my number 4. My number 3 is Spider-Verse, because
One
man,
under me.
It's
I didn't even see Godzilla.
It's across the Spider-Verse, man. It ends on
was phenomenal.
It ends on a very abrupt cliffhanger. And everybody's like, what the fuck? I got to wait till March of 2024. Psych.
Oh, I'm definitely going to
have to wait longer now, but
oh my God. Yeah. I forgot about that.
Again, it's another visually pleasing, stunning. You're loving Miles and the direction and the growth that he's having. And Spider-Punk is one that you love.
And the art. Holy shit.
Oh man. Yeah. And the soundtrack again is another like top tier soundtrack.
The fact that Logan sat through this and he's literally never sat through any movie ever is shocking.
Crazy.
The last 20 minutes he started to ask for the candy in my purse, but that movie is over 2 hours long.
It's like 2 hours and like 15 minutes.
I was expecting to have to leave halfway through with him. I put on Elf for him. He lasted 35 minutes.
Wow. And Elf's not even long either.
No. And the first half of it's all like practically animated.
Yeah.
No, he does not.
It's good, man. What's your number 3?
The Marvels.
Okay. I respect it.
I really liked it. And again, I feel like this goes to expectations, though, as far as the Haunted Mansion. I had lower expectations for the Haunted Mansion.
That one didn't make my top 5 solely because like the villain was weak, but Kamala.
But the movie wasn't about the villain.
No, it wasn't. Okay. It was. I loved how they intertwined their powers, how they made them work as a team.
That was their weakness, not the villain.
Yeah. And, I really liked that whole aspect. And you get to see some growth from Carol, and it's good to see her back. And Kamala steals the show. And of course, we get the X-Men cameo, but
I lost my mind on that. I don't even know what happened. I did not get emotional the entire movie of the Marvels. And the second I saw that cameo, I started pouring tears. I don't know what.
I thought you were going to say you were throwing beer everywhere.
No. Did I have a beer? No, I did not have a beer because we saw that at like 10 in the morning. So I had to go straight from that to go get the kids. But no. Oh, and it was we did a 40. And last time I did 40 with a beer, I spilled it all over myself.
Yeah, no.
But I don't know. I think I was just overwhelmed with emotion. I don't even know what was wrong with me. I was fine the whole movie.
Okay,
and the second I saw that, I just lost every sense of emotion.
It happens. I get that way sometimes. We all get that. What was your number 2 movie though?
Come on, Barbie. Let's go party. Which was, I went to the comic book shop today and I walked in, and as soon as I walked in, I hear, I'm just Ken.
Did you see that Ken has 3 songs out?
I did. Stacy posted that on the Discord. I need to watch those or listen to those.
There are 3 Ken songs out. If you've been living under a rock, one of which is Ryan Gosling and Mark Ronson. I'm just Ken. Merry Christmas Barbie special. It's there's 3 of them. Go out, listen to those now. It's a little EP. My number 2. Oppenheimer, man. I did the Barbenheimer event.
I haven't seen it.
Oppenheimer is good, and it's a 3 hour.
No, it's on my to-do list.
Obviously, it's 3 hours. Like I did not expect to like it as much because I'm not one of those people that are really big into movies like this. Typically, I do like them. Harry's not so much into them. So it was when I went by myself. I start with Oppenheimer, and it was like Cillian Murphy was out of this world. And
you did back to back, right?
I did, yes. And Robert Downey Jr. was just freaking he's such a good actor.
Fantastic.
And it's Christopher Nolan. And there's so much tension built up in this story. And Josh Hartnett, a shout out to him for coming back from the dead to resurrect his career.
Shout out to him for everything, because he was on my list in high school.
He's a hunk. Straight up, man. Straight up. Going back to his days on the faculty movie, like that was good. But yeah, no, this movie was insanely good, which leads me to my number 1, which was Barbie, man. Like I don't know what it was about Like it's a good movie, but for some reason that movie made me emotional. I don't know why.
It made me emotional too.
As a dude, like a lot of dudes took beef with this movie, but me, I'm like, it's got everything. Like I don't know what I was expecting.
Because you got it. Yeah, dudes who took beef with it didn't get it.
Yeah, I don't know what I was expecting in a Barbie movie, but the very on the nose Ken being the villain because he found patriarchy and he finally got a voice because Barbie was just drowning him out.
Yeah, she was mean to him.
But at the end, it's like Barbie doesn't need to be with Ken. So they didn't even make them have to be in this relationship at the end, which was even better. And just the tongue in cheek through it all and the adventure. And it's a story about growing up. And like, as a parent, you see your kids growing up. And at a certain point, they stop doing certain things with you, which makes you emotional. And it's just all of that hit at once. And you're just like, wow, you have an existential crisis, which is different from the existential crisis you get from Oppenheimer. It was a beautifully
that's
done
real shit that
Oh, yeah. Oppenheimer leaves you with like, oh yeah, we're all dead. Nuclear war. We're just fucking dead. Barbie is like, wow, I could be whoever I want. I could follow my own path. And you have this entirely different existential crisis. So that's my number one movie by far.
Well, the America Ferrera scene where she's saying all these things, obviously that's going to hit many women hard. What's funny is Josh was like, you know, because I went and saw it with my daughters and came home, and Braille's like, why was mom crying during that movie? Apparently I cry a lot. I used to never cry during movies. I feel like Marvel broke me.
You're all right. Like, you're just always crying at movies now.
I know. I feel like the first movie I really like legit like poured tears at was probably like Endgame. And now it's just like get the gates are down. I don't know. Yeah, I used to never cry in anything.
And now it's just literally anything that happens.
I know. Now I'm like, oh my God, it's Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man.
Can you believe he delivered the pizza?
Right. Now I see a commercial with Hugh Jackman saying he's going to play Wolverine, and I'm hysterical.
You're like, fuck.
What was I saying? I got overwhelmed by my emotions. Oh, Josh is like, did you even play with Barbies when you were little? And I just started singing like Barbie and the Rockers. It's like every little girl played with Barbies when they were little. I feel like it was just you're born and as a girl and they're like, here's a Barbie. But it was just such a fun spin on all of it. The movie's just fucking fantastic.
My daughter's actually going through the whole, and this was her favorite movie. She's 5. This movie came out when she was 4, and she sat through it twice. And she watches it on the reg. And you know what? I'm going to give a shout out to another movie real quick because this invoked something this weekend. The vibes were immaculate, man. I woke up, I put on the Eras tour. I was baking cookies.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And shout out to my daughter for she would change her dress every time Taylor changed her dress. It was the cutest thing on earth, man. And she's like so big into Taylor Swift. So every time Taylor would change, she was like, oh, I really love this dress. And she would go get a different princess dress on and dance and stuff. And it was like, that's a movie to me. I got the extended version on my Plex. You're fucking right. I love that movie because I was jamming. I was vibing. It was immaculate.
So I did go to Ian's Eras tour birthday party.
Unreal.
He changed
you did
3 times.
Oh, that's even better.
I dressed as Dean Winchester. They played Taylor music 90% of the time. Then for a little bit, they play. Then I said, "Can you play our song?" And Ian put on "Wayward Son."
Couldn't have waited to have a Taylor Swift party till I was there. Like, come on.
It was his birthday. We waited till midnight to leave because he turned well. And then his wife. Kudos to his wife. She did a phenomenal decor. The whole place was decorated. They had their family photos covered with pictures of Taylor. And then Ian had a giant friendship bracelet, like a sash, and it said,
single picture. What the fuck?
It said, I'm feeling 43 because he turned 43.
This is incredible. I love this so much. I cannot wait to do this when I turn what age? Maybe I'll do it next year. Maybe I'll have a big Taylor Swift party myself and invite Swifties only.
But it was amazing. And then, when he gave his party favors to only a couple of us, family and business beer company ornaments.
What?
Yep, he ordered the ugly sweater.
I'm waiting on my friendship bracelet, Ian, but it's fine.
Erica made him friendship bracelets, and he wore them the whole night.
It's fine.
Erica, when you come down for MegaCon, she will happily make MegaCon bracelets. She was complaining that she was outside her kids' extracurriculars the other day, and she goes, I have no friendship bracelets to make right now. So I will tell her, oh, okay, I'm going to text her.
I will wear the fuck out of that. Okay. Why don't you go ahead and hit us with your number one movie real quick?
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay, I respect it for reasons we've already talked about, right? It was a really good movie. And it's hard to believe all these movies came out this year because it felt like so many years, but how could you not?
That one fight scene too that they had was, oh my God, it was ballet. It was gorgeous. The way that they were like flinging over each other and the way Groot was doing the thing.
Oh, in the hallway. Yeah.
Yes. Dude, I mean, that was probably the second best hallway fight scene in the MCU, second to obviously Daredevil, but it was just it was so beautiful and
You
it was so
know?
fun. And we didn't realize this was possibly the last time we'd really see them work in sync together as a
Yeah.
team.
And that shout out to Marvel for this year, because I thought that one thing they really did well was their fight
Their first
scenes.
F-bomb.
Well, yeah. Just open the fucking door.
That was great.
I will say though, like between the Marvels and Guardians of the Galaxy, like their fight sequences there were really freaking cool. And then shout out to Quantum Mania, where
I have a shout out to Quantum Mania.
Kang beat Ant-Man's ass in a totally different way. So like their fight sequences in their movies this year were really good.
Mm-hmm.
Which
yeah, and I loved. God, you still haven't met this Ant-Man's daughter in Supernatural.
Well,
but I thought she did a great job.
Kang is no longer in the MCU. Obviously,
he no longer remains.
Yeah, Jonathan Majors was found guilty, if you haven't heard yet. So we don't know what's happening with Kang. That's where we're at there.
I would like more Kang. I think his story is done.
You can recast Kang easily.
But yeah. At this point, this news has been out for a few weeks.
So Kang was an honorable mention for you. All right. I don't even.
Yeah, Quantum Mania was an honorable mention.
I respect that. I couldn't even tell you all the movies I saw this year. I think Fast X was my honorable mention.
Oh my god!
Because that came out
this year.
It was April. I love that franchise. I'm such trash. I am the problem. It's me. Hi, I'm the problem.
I'm the problem. It's me.
Yes. When
Erica on Saturday, she's like, I really need you to just be a Swiftie. I'm like, I don't hate her.
Erica, and I'm a Swiftie.
Play the old school songs. They finally put on our song. I told Ian, play our song. He plays Wayward Son. And then I'm like, no, can you play? Because he went around and asked everybody's favorite Taylor song. And then when he got to me, he put on Wayward Son. No, because it's our song.
Well, Shake It Off was a song that, Carrie and I listened to as we went to the courthouse to get married.
Well, when Josh and I first got back together, I would tell him, this is our song. And he would get confused.
Well, see, fucking love Taylor Swift, man. All right. That was our top fives, cool. Man. I did too. I heard Country Days back, and I don't even like country.
I thought you hated country.
I hate country, but I like her country stuff too, man. I don't know.
Is it because she wears T-shirts and she's on the bleachers?
And I wear whatever and
short skirts.
Cheers, Captain, and I'm on the bleachers. But I am gonna go ahead and let's talk about our guest from this year. So first and foremost, Sean from Metalcore Nerds. Shout out to him. He was on our MCU Phase 4 wrap up.
It's always fun to talk MCU with him because
it is. I love Sean.
He has very similar mindset with us.
And if you don't know about Sean, he's on Metalcore Nerds. And I actually appear on we haven't done music in a while. Our schedules have just been off. But we're going to be doing our favorite albums of 2023. So be on the lookout for that. We did Jamal from the Hop Circles. Of course. He did a Kang origin with us back for Quantum Mania. And I hope we can probably meet up with him at MegaCon this year.
Jamal and I can't hang out without drinking too much and getting into some MCU talk.
Bottle share at a brewery, personally. Yeah. That's what I think we should do.
But no, Jamal usually does not go to MegaCon. I usually see him at Half Barrel afterwards. And it sounds like this year he's actually intending on going.
Well, we should start putting plans in motions for a bottle share.
Mm-hmm.
A Geeks one. Yeah. That'd be rad.
I like it.
Hades from ASAP Imagination, which also goes into Lori, who is also part of ASAP Imagination. She came on this year. And,
no, she came on December because we talked Mickey's.
Oh my
Christmas
God!
Carol.
It was a year ago. Holy shit,
ago. Yeah,
dude!
that's why she's not on here.
Wow. All right. Wow. Anyways,
to turn into Owen Wilson if you say "wow" one more time.
Richard, our boy Rich, man, I love this dude so much. He's from the MCU Direct. We talked Quantum Mania. We loved it. We did his Secret Invasion pre-show. We talked Ted Lasso with him, and he'll come back for more episodes. We just go check him out on the MCU Direct. Richard Nebbins, shout out to him. And also, we sat down with Dave Hayworth. How do you pronounce
from Gem State Comic Con. That was a fun one because he gave us a behind the scenes look at Gem State Comic Con in Idaho.
That's right. Oh my God. It feels like I forgot I lived in Idaho at a point. Yes. He gave us a cool, behind the scenes look and talked about Gem State Comic Con, which they actually have like big guests next year, like Sean Astin's going. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, because we still follow them. I've been pretty impressed with some of their guests.
They're pulling big guests, man. Boise is pulling it. And, I will be.
Dude, and if you're in Boise and you're listening to this, like their like lifetime thing, remember they get like
the
benefits
lifetime.
for like ever with like screen or like good into the movies
membership to a Comic Con. Like it's dope as hell.
Yeah. And they do like special screenings for certain movies and stuff. That's if MegaCon had that, I'd 100% be on it.
Without a doubt. Christian De Matteo, Dustin Nelson, James Lyons, Fugitive Poems crew. They came on to talk about their comic book. Two of them, Containment Breach. Christian's come on a couple times this year.
Yeah, we talked to Indiana Jones.
Has looked over my comic book I stopped writing because I've just moved and have forgotten about. And we talked to Indiana Jones, and Christian is amazing human being. Dustin, shout out to him. He's doing amazing things. James is killing it at the artwork as far as Fugitive Poems goes. Shout out to them. Go check out Fugitive Poems on Twitter or Instagram or whatever. Lance Lucero, he is a comic creator. Bob, the non-union sidekick. And also he had a short film come out that we got to see, which
connected to the comic book.
Yeah. Go check out Lance, man. He's shooting on film. He's writing comics. He's creating movies. He's out there at a film festival near you. And this next guest, man, was another dream come true bucket list item. Darick Robertson. He is one of the people responsible for The Boys. He was the artist behind The Boys.
I think he's the only guest we've ever had that I was legit nervous for.
I was too. Legit. Like Darick was cool. Cool people. He was such a cool dude. I can't even tell you.
Well, and then, I asked him, do you ever have a hard time drawing some of this stuff because it's such like a dark, like the comic's darker than the show? And his response, I've said it multiple times because it makes me giggle. No, I have a sick imagination.
Yes.
But then at the end, I was concerned. He thought we were trying to ask him who Jeffrey Dean Morgan was going to be. And then I was like, oh, fuck, did I say too much? I need to, because I did have to bite my tongue a few times with him. And like, that was such a fun and cool guest. And literally the only time, like even when we had Jeff Johns, I thought that was cool, but I wasn't nervous. I was nervous for Darick Robertson.
I'll get to that one in a minute. Jackson Lansing, Colin Kelly came on. The Hive Mind. That was so fun. I love those two dudes. I'm going to be emailing them. So hopefully we get something in the works at MegaCon, whether it's, hey, you want to come up and meet up at grab beer after the con? Or
right, because Jackson's into beer.
Yes. So I'm going to see if we can hit him up in some capacity, maybe do an episode together, or hey, come out to this brewery, something of that nature, since we're both going to be there. So more to come there. Love those dudes.
If you see Lansing and Kelly on the same comic book, buy it.
Yeah. Oh, God, they've written Batman. They've written Captain America.
They've written
Guardians of the Galaxy. They've written Star Trek. God,
really like the Guardians run still. It's been
do yourself a favor, 100%. And then this next guest, David Pepose,
sweetest dude ever.
He's the nicest, like one of the legit nicest human beings I've ever met in my life. It's without a doubt.
Not a hugger, but if I ever meet him in person, I'm hugging him.
I met him this year. He signed his Savage Avengers run for my son, and this was my son's first Comic-Con. He wrote Stay Savage, all that stuff. My son still talks about that to this day. He has done some amazing. He's writing Punisher,
Darth
Moon
Vader,
Knight, Darth Vader. He's Devil Wears My Face, Savage Avengers. Dude is on an absolute tear. Check him out. We did Kelly Knox, who wrote Be More Obi-Wan, and we talked during our Star Wars month. And if you're a Star Wars fan, she loves doing Star Wars puns. Please follow her on Twitter.
She's hilarious.
She really is.
What was the one she said something about a metachlorian?
I can't remember.
Something
she does
about
like a
amino
daily
acids
Star Wars joke pun, and it's amazing.
Oh my gosh, she just kills it with the Star Wars puns.
She's so incredibly nice.
KNOX.
Yes. Yeah. And then this next Star Wars guest, Vanessa freaking Marshall, guys. Vanessa.
This is probably my top moment the whole year.
We talked to Hera Syndulla. She started the rebellion. God, if she goes to MegaCon, hands down.
Well, I got to see her at Spookala.
I know, but if she goes to MegaCon, we're getting photos. We're doing all that crap. Like, okay, first and foremost, like Ewan McGregor, and
Hayden Christensen.
I think because two of us can go, so I would shell out for both of us to get a picture with those two, hands like without a doubt.
I think Tabby's already talking about doing it.
Okay, well, I think that's
group
off
photo.
Air. Like, I think we should do a group photo because it's Hayden fucking Christensen and Ewan Yeah. Aside from that, we talked to Trevor from Pocket Watch Press.
Wait,
Great.
just real quick for Vanessa Marshall, though, I do want to shout this out again. When we asked her about when they mentioned Harrison Dula and Rogue One and that the ghost made appearance and Chopper, she got emotional and got teary eyed. And the fact that we were able to pull that out of her on our podcast, so and then she thanked us for coming on. 100% the highlight of
she's such a sweet
the podcast
person.
The past year. Yes, like, I just wanted to say that before we moved on.
God, she's such a beautiful soul. Beautiful soul.
She is Harrison Dula. She is as good a person as she is.
Trevor from Pocket Watch Press. He is out there doing the thing, man. He is killing it on the indie circuit.
Dude,
he is a protege of Scott Snyder as well. He's written a lot of really good stuff. We were supposed to have him on again and fucking scheduling. I got sick in the scheduling.
He'll be on again one day.
He will be on again soon. As will our friend Christian from the Heretic Party Pod. Man, Christian, I met him in Idaho. He was working at Woodland Empire. I love Christian.
He's we got some supernatural.
You want to talk another beautiful soul? Christian's a beautiful soul, and Joe Blazzo. Both of those two dudes are doing really cool things. We talked with Jesse from Good Days Games, Charlie. My boy Charlie, we do I'm on like 80 podcasts. This is why my wife's always mad at me. I get it. And I do Real Buffs with Charlie. So if you want to check it out, Real Buffs, REELBUFFS. We've talked Elf. We've going to talk Mean Girls, which Charlie actually told me to have Lauren come on for. That's going to be coming. We've talked a lot of movies. So Charlie, shout out to my boy Charlie. We've known each other forever. Josh
Next Trujillo. Year, we're going to talk Jaws 3 with him.
We are. And Josh Trujillo, Washington's Gay General, Blue Beetle. We talked to him. Great DC creator. He is, again, another just beautiful soul who does doing amazing work in the comic.
I saw him in the toy aisle today. They sell the Blue Beetle comic book. They do. With the Blue Beetle
I've
toy.
Seen it. Yes.
And it's so funny. I look over and I see Josh Trujillo.
And these next two, Tyrell Cannon and Kenny Porter. Guys, if you're not reading the Schlub from Image Comics, do yourself a favor and go do that right now, because Kenny Porter and Tyrell are Ryan Stegman has been doing writing as well. We just haven't nailed him down yet. He's going to be at MegaCon. Maybe it will happen there.
Oh,
but Tyrell and Kenny are two people that have absolutely been crushing it, especially with the Schlub. Tyrell's art mixed with, Kenny's humor. And we got to talk about each of them about Schlub 1 and 2. And
the comic's way funnier than it has a right to be.
It's hilarious. It's such a good comic book. And then, yes, Christian Ward. Do we need
to say more? We've done multiple episodes praising his art and
Batman
the story.
City Madness, man. Turn a page, Nerd Initiative, check it out. I can't even, there's that.
Beginning of this or the part 1 of this, we went into this.
Yeah. We did Steve Urena from Foulmouth. Steve's a longtime friend of the show. He's done a lot of good stuff. We talked to Zach Kaplan. Vault Comics released Beyond Real. Really great book. They're doing really cool things. Make sure you check out Vault Comics and Zach Kaplan's work.
Brandon of Disney Comics was really funny. He's the tinfoil dude.
Oh, yes.
Those comics were shockingly hilarious. And I don't mean shockingly in a mean way. I mean in like a what the fuck just happened way.
We, of course, talked with Jeff Johns and Jason Fabek on the Nerd Initiative Turn a Page crew, talking about Ghost Machine. 2024 for them is going to be absolutely insane. In the fact, this was the interview that got me nervous. Like, Jeff Johns shaped my comic book love for Flash and all these characters. And so to sit there, and every time he kept calling, like answering my questions, and he would say my name, I'm sitting there like, he knows my name. It was just one of those things that's like, holy shit. He probably has forgotten about me the second we hit end. But the fact that at that moment, he took the time, and every person who asked him a question, he made it a point to be like, well, Lauren, this XYZ, well, Matt, well, Ken, well, Marty. Like, the fact that he just took that time to like know who you are, and then we kind of bullshitted for a few minutes too. Like, that was,
I enjoyed it. Honestly, when we weren't recording was when I enjoyed it the most, was the bullshitting.
It was my God, dude.
Yeah, recording, I felt like I was just listening, because also we were focused on Ghost
Well,
Machine.
there was a bunch of us and we were talking about Ghost Machine and we were really, yeah. But when we were just talking off air bullshitting, like,
yeah. And I was like, oh, I'm allowed to talk about Doom Patrol now. I'm allowed to talk about which Stargirl was a show I didn't watch until not long ago.
yeah, same.
And I had no idea he created it based on his sister who passed. And like, how fucking sweet is that?
Dude, Jeff Johns, like the fact that we got to sit there and it was just a blow away moment. Like I was saying the whole time, like, this is happening.
You can't watch a DC show that his name is not on. Right. Pun intended.
It was one of those.
And then our last guests were part one.
Yes. Part one was Ken and Tom.
It's technically 2024.
Ken and freaking Tom came on, did the whole thing. We talked comic books of 2023. Go listen to that. Ken from the ODPH podcast. Tom, off the cuff, Tom. You know, they're just two amazing, knowledgeable human beings. Like they have so much knowledge inside their brains. Ken is amazing how he remembers everybody's names. It's crazy.
And then he'll apologize if he forgets one single name.
It's like, Ken, I can't even remember like who wrote
my kid's name.
The Bible.
I don't say the right kid's name the first time.
I'm telling you, like, I don't know what to tell you.
He's like, I apologize. I can't remember the artist for this comic I read 5 years ago. I'm like, I'm still shocked you remembered all these other names.
Incredible. And they're two just amazing dudes. I love those two dudes so much. They've been, Ken has been kind of with us since the start, and we all are doing this Nerd Initiative stuff, which I want to shout out Nerd Initiative. That's where we do our comic book reviews. We do Turn a Page, and look out in 2024 because at a Comic-Con near you, potentially, we could be doing a panel. So check that out. And
if dreams come true,
this is what dreams are made of. Hey now. Ooh, ooh. Yeah, Hillary Duff.
Is that from TikTok?
It's Hillary Duff from the fucking Lizzie McGuire movie.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, that concludes our episode 200, our best of. We've talked about comic books, we talked about TV shows, we talked about movies, man. We drank a beer at that. You guys can catch us in 1 month from now, where we are going to be in person once again.
Like, are we not recording for a month?
No, we are going to be at MegaCon, where we are going to potentially be interviewing some creators. We're going to be just hanging out.
We don't know.
As
maybe
friends.
We'll drink too many Dragon Stouts, and
I can tell you straight up,
get some not great content.
We're going to end up drinking way too much.
I was thinking about that the other day. I'm like, should we just Uber every day?
We probably should, or have Josh drop us off. Speaking of, Josh called me on accident today, so I FaceTimed him back, and he was like, I didn't mean to, but then we talked for like 2 minutes. It was funny. But yes, no, we will be at MegaCon. If you're listening to this, you're going to be at MegaCon. Dude, find us. We're going to do a bunch of cool shit.
You can't just find us. You need to hit us up beforehand. And we
hit us up. Okay. Yes.
Because MegaCon is a shit show.
And who knows? We might
and nobody's phone works in there. I lost Ian one time and had to see him the next day.
Nobody's phone doesn't work. It doesn't work in there, but I'm excited. I cannot wait. Find us there. We will see you guys next week with episode 201 that, I'm going to call it right now. We're going to be talking about the Doctor Who specials 1, 2, 3, and the Christmas special with David, so that's going to be the next episode. And then we'll do
Scott Pilgrim after.
And then we'll do Scott Pilgrim. So that's what you have to look forward to. 2024 is going to be a good year. Thanks for hanging out with us over the past 200 episodes. Cheers. Cheers, cheers, cheers to you beautiful human beings.